All right, welcome in Bronco Nation. This is another edition of Blue Turf Talk. My name is Chris Van Sickle. You can call me Chris V, and we've changed up the lineup a little bit, shuffled it up. We got Grant and Nick. How you doing today, Grant?
Good, you?
I'm doing well, Nick. How's it over in your neck of the woods?
Great. What's up?
It's another beautiful day, a pretty busy day as well. This is being recorded on Monday. And a couple commits today, a commit on Saturday, which was already a busy day with the spring game going on. So we're going to break all that down. 3 commits, a spring game, and all kinds of fun. And then I put a post out on Twitter and Facebook and kind of wanted to hear the fans' reactions. And we got a couple. And we're going to go through those and see if we agree or disagree. But it's good times. First off, Nick, real quick, give me just an initial reaction to the spring game. Just a quick synopsis that you thought. We'll dig in deeper after that.
Yeah, just for the spring game, a lot like we see every spring. Minimal tackling. I believe the second half is usually when they start wrapping up. But yeah, it was good to see some new talent on the blue. And of course, as with every spring game, there you'll have a couple plays that really open your eyes. So kind of saw that, and we saw some places where they need to improve too.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got some. I got a couple clips here, a couple of little videos that kind of sum it up and have some of those big plays. So I'll start one of those. Yeah, it's just always great to see fans in the stands at Bronco Stadium or Albertson Stadium. I always call it Bronco Stadium. They showed up. Here's a video of the kicker, Jarrett Reeser, who had some mixed results. Officially for the scrimmage, he was 2 for 2. If you were there for practice, you may have noticed some not so great kicks, but he came in clutch. But overall, it was a great experience. You see Maddox Matson, kind of dancing around. He's a fun guy. He's feeling pretty good. I think he's pretty confident being that full-time starter. One of the biggest things that I noticed, and there's going to be some clips of it coming up, the defensive line was really pretty stout, especially Latu, number, I believe, 92. He's getting some rave reviews, and I really think he's going to be stepping up into a larger role. Real quick, Nick, give me some particulars that you saw. I have a pretty cool clip here coming up, and I believe there might be some audio. So try to ignore the fans in the background, but and that it's going to mute ours, so we're going to hold off on that for a second. Real quick, Nick, just talk to me about what you saw from some of the position groups that you were watching the most.
Yeah, and we've probably heard it already, on online about the stables looking very good. They went heavy on the running game. It seemed like during the scrimmage, and like you said, the line was pretty stout, and yeah, I would say that Latu and also May Tolo looked good in the middle there. I gotta do that name some more so I can get used to it. Those Mia Tolo and Latu, those Hawaiian names kind of tripped me up a little bit. But yeah, those look great. I thought the protection by the tight ends looked great too on the offense, which opened up the running game, what I noticed. And then, I also saw some something that kind of went under the radar until the very end. Sincere Brackett back there was flying around the whole game. And then you wouldn't have noticed it until that last play where he did record that sack.
That's a good call. Sincere Brackett, a gray shirt linebacker that If you look back at the high school film, he's as talented a hitter, a tackler as you'll see. And I'm excited to see him. Grant, you weren't at the game, and that stuff happens. I get it. I was at Bronco Stadium most of the day. I had an Easter egg hunt there in the morning, and then was there in the afternoon. So I made up for both of us. But I'm going to play just some clips here. You're going to hear the fans, and we're going to let you enjoy that atmosphere. And then, Grant, I'm going to toss it over to you after this just to pass on what you've heard from it. How about that?
Gotcha.
All right. Hang tight. All right, and I apologize to the viewers for the quote-unquote dead air there. That was a technical screw-up on my part. I forgot that if I don't remove the sound, it mutes all of us. So we'll get that fixed for next time. You saw some plays there, Grant, and I'm sure you've read some and just heard some from social media. What were some of your takeaways? What is Bronco Nation talking the most about right now?
Yeah, just looking over stats and just clips I've seen online. Man, if I could pick one person to be in Boise, Idaho, it'd be James Montgomery with that running back crew. I don't see where he screws this up. I mean, between running backs 1 and 4, they're all fantastic. So lucky James.
Yeah. And I'll toss up the stats from the game here as well.
Another player that I heard get a lot of hype was Jake Ripp. He played a little bit of linebacker and a little bit off the edge, the stud position. I think he's going to be kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy. They're going to put him wherever they need him to be, and he's going to be able to perform for them. So it's another guy I'm very excited to see this year.
And that's a great call. We're going to talk about Nick and I are going to kind of give some MVPs. You'll excuse my son. He's a Tiger right now. We're going to give some offensive and defensive MVPs, and I bet you're going to hear one of those names or maybe a couple. The one guy that stood out to me, and you saw some of his throws there, and it's a guy that behind the scenes, when people have asked me what I've seen from him from practice, I have been pretty harsh on him. Caleb Annett has up until Saturday really not impressed me all that much, and I will gladly eat that crow. He looked great. Great pocket presence. You saw some of those throws there. He's the only other scholarship quarterback on the team other than Max Matson, and he's got that kind of arm, and he showed it off. Some of his throws on the run, I thought were some of the more impressive things. We're going to talk about that ability to throw on the run with one of the commits coming up later, and it's really, I think, underrated. Always keeping your eyes downfield, something that you get frustrated when a quarterback just tucks it and runs and doesn't always keep his eyes open for open receivers downfield. So I was excited to see Caleb Annett. AJ Mays is a fun name to toss out there. Former walk-on quarterback, seeing time, and I doubt he would disagree, because of a lot of injuries at the wide receiver core. Took advantage of his opportunity, had a great day, made some nice catches. He's also made some of the best catches of the spring at practice. So the kid can catch. He's got that little former quarterback thing going on, so maybe you see him line up and make a throw. Who knows? But that's some of the guys I was really excited to see. And then you got to toss in the name Cam Bates. You saw his touchdown catch there. I think sometimes we get a little too caught up on, ooh, this wide receiver is really tall. There's something to be said for a wide receiver that can just flat out outrun somebody. And that's exactly what that drag route was in the back of the end zone that he caught there. He was simply lined up on the other side and said, here, try to catch me. And not many people are going to catch him. Nick, real quick, let's go over our defensive and offensive MVPs. Who do you got?
Yeah, the obvious one that shined on Saturday was Jake Ripp. That's for sure. Again, he was, another linebacker that was all over the place. So yeah, I would say that he would probably be the defensive MVP with the honorable mention of Sincere Brackett. To me, I could see both of those guys just flying around. Even old man Buck got in there and got a sack too. So give him some credit. Ty had some action in there, but yeah, for me, it was about the linebacker play.
Yeah, it's a good call. I was really impressed with that as well. I was excited to see Marco Notriani in there pretty much the whole time. That's something I was hoping to see is that he is just going to stay on the field. I was going to go with Jake Ripp, but I'll call an audible and say a guy that you mentioned, Buck Benefield, Ty Benefield. We didn't see him at wide receiver. I was kind of curious if they were going to line him up and tease the fans. He did not play wide receiver, but boy, he plays a darn good safety. And like you said, blitz really well. I also tossed out a co-MVP, Bo Phelps. I thought he played really well. He's getting used to that linebacker position coming from safety. And I thought he showed some good physicality getting in there in the run game. And, maybe it didn't show up on the box score, but I thought he was in there and making some plays.
I was going to wrap that up.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that two of your Blue Turf Talk participants, even Zion Washington had a pretty good game too. And then also Bo, I believe he registered a sack too.
I believe you're right. Yep. Talk offensive MVP real quick, Nick. Did you cover that?
I didn't, but I have two co-MVPs and yes, Malik had a great 65-yard scamper for a touchdown. That's the eye opener, for much of Bronco Nation. But to me, there's two, and one is Caleb Annett. And then also Dylan Riley. He did have a 47-yard run called back for penalty, but overall, he scored 2 touchdowns. He was very solid. And if the Jet, he's a playmaker, and anytime he touches the ball, he's going to threaten to score the ball. So for me, I just thought that even though Malik had the 65-yarder, the body of work, I believe, went to Dylan Riley.
And I think that's a great call. I was really glad you brought up Dylan Riley. Also because he was we interviewed him after the game, and he did a great job. As far as I can remember, this was the first time that he has met with the media, and he did a great job. That does not always go all that well the first time. Did a great job, and I like he mentioned that 2 running backs on the field it's going to happen, and you put Sherrod and Riley on the field at the same time, and that is a ton of speed. So yeah, that's a good call on Riley. I'm going to go with Cam Bates. It's kind of similar to why you picked Riley. He's just fast. They did an end around to him, which I was really excited to see. I'm really hoping that Nate Potter is going to expand this playbook a little bit, and he did show that off a little bit. While we're speaking of that, I guess the first play, from my vantage point, I did not see this, but I guess the first play of the scrimmage was going to be a double pass. Is that correct, Nick? Did you see it?
I don't think that I remember seeing anything like that, but
Okay.
unless it got broken up. Unless it got broken up. It was not.
Yeah, he did not throw it, is what I'm told. It was to bend forward, and he did not end up throwing it. But it looked like it was supposed to be a setup for a double pass. So that's exciting to see some trick plays in there. Grant, you got any last thoughts on the spring game before we move on to some recruits?
I think we covered it all.
All right, buddy. Yeah, so hopping over to recruiting, this is a really exciting time. You know, you're going to start seeing official visits happening. There was a lot of official visitors for the spring game. One of them being Bryson Beaver, a quarterback that I had been talking to before his commitment and wasn't sure how quickly he was going to pull the trigger, but was sure excited when he did. I got to find the right one. I'll get there eventually, guys. There we go. Bryson Beaver. Sorry about that. Super impressive kid. Announced his commitment Saturday morning. Grant was awesome and shot me the post because I was not paying attention. And great kid, very talented. I'm going to turn on his highlights here, Grant, and I'll have you kind of tell me what you think of this young man. Go ahead, Grant.
Yeah. So just watching some of his film, it seems like he's got a pretty good arm talent. He doesn't really have to step into his throws much. He just kind of flicks the wrist and it goes about 25, 30 yards. One of the plays I watched while he was getting hit through like a 55-yard bomb, which is pretty impressive for a high school kid, let alone someone that's just a junior, not a senior yet. I found that he thrives in the pocket, but he's not afraid to run. On the screen, when he does, that's the 55-yard bomb. I mean, that's just unbelievable. When he does run, he doesn't pop out on the screen like he's super fast, but he's got some long strides. So that's something to watch out, which I like. And the one nick that I have for Maddox Madsen, for all the great he does, is that size. So Maddox is maybe 5'10" on a good day. This guy's all 6'3" and maybe a little bit more. So that definitely helps when you got 6'5" linemen in front of you. So yeah, I'm really excited for this kid, and he's going to develop and be even better his senior year. He threw 33 touchdowns his junior year, so I'm excited for him.
What was great about that announcement is he came to the campus and sight seeing, he went ahead and committed right there, on the blue. So it's pretty good to start out the spring game atmosphere on that Saturday. So those are some really good highlights, and I can't wait to see what he can do on the blue.
Yeah, and he's currently the 100th quarterback via 24/7 Sports. So, and I expect him to have a pretty good senior year. So I feel like he's probably going to be ranked even higher after this year.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, fellas. Kind of lost my internet there. I'm sure, Grant, you killed it. I'm gonna break him down just a little bit myself. I like what you said. Great arm talent. One thing that stood out with me, and I think it's underrated, is he's what I would say is as a mature thrower. Now, what goes on into with a mature thrower is a little bit of that arm talent, but also the ability to set his feet and his footwork, not just within the pocket, but also outside the pocket. You see some of those runs and keeping his eyes downfield, not just kind of tucking and run. He's going to see if a wide receiver runs open. So yeah, great arm talent. That's great and all, but he's also a mature quarterback. And that's something that I'm really excited to see come in and let Zach Hill kind of mold. In theory, we should have Maddox Madsen for another year. Let Bryson come in, soak all that in, and then step into a hopefully larger role when Maddox moves on. Next up is a linebacker. Excited for this young man as well. He played safety in high school. Rocky Dunn out of Melissa High School in Melissa, Texas, had a pretty impressive offer list. He announced last night on social media that he was going to make his announcement this morning, and I was like, oh, I didn't have a read on that one. Usually I can kind of at least have a kind of a guess, and I didn't have a read. But he chose to be a Bronco. They're bringing him as a linebacker. I'm going to play some highlights here. Hopefully it doesn't break my computer again. And Grant, you go ahead and talk us up here.
Yeah, watching his film, some characteristics I found from him. He plays with speed. He runs the ball. He's a downhill player. He's an enforcer. By that, I mean he likes to lay the boom like in that one. He's not a guy that's just going to wrap you up. He's going to try to run right through you. And he played, like you said, safety and linebacker in high school right now. So he's got some pretty good coverage skills. So when you see him in zone coverage, he's a ball hawk. He's going to go after that ball. And he had a lot of breakups this year. He had 11 pass breakups, 76 tackles, and 5 tackles for loss in his 9 games this year. He was named Texas All-State 5A first team defense, which Texas ball 5A is no joke.
Yeah.
So this guy knows ball. So I'm excited for him.
For sure. And Grant, you played linebacker a little bit in high school, and I like what you said there. He plays through the tackle. Talk to me about that. Explain that to somebody who doesn't know, who's never played linebacker and knows what that really means.
Yeah, so in high school or any kind of sport age range, there's guys that are aggressive, and then there's guys that are there. So the guys that are there are going to get to the spot, wrap them up by the legs, and hopefully with a wing and a prayer bring him down. This guy plays like he's pissed off. He's going to knock you down to the ground and try to get that ball loose. It's just a different mentality that he has. He doesn't want to just stop you. He wants to hurt you a little bit and make you regret that you ran towards his side of the field.
That's a great way to put it. And if that doesn't get you excited on coming to Boise State, I don't know what will. I do think it's important to point out. I like the transition from a high school safety to a linebacker in college. It's pretty. These kids are still growing. He's going to be able to put on muscle. That's not going to be a problem. He's going to get in here, get into the nutrition program, get into the weight room, and he's still going to keep some of that speed as well. And that's just not something you can teach. So I'm excited about the thought of him playing linebacker at a high Texas school level. Come in here, bulk up for a season, maybe play a little special teams, and then come out raging and hitting people like he's pissed off. I like how you said that. So that's great. We did have one late afternoon edition that honestly I had not heard about, but it's a very exciting one. I'm going to play his tape real quick. Derek Ganter Jr. You hide your eyes, guys. It's the Inferno Field up in Eastern Washington. Boy, that's rough. But you like the plays he's making on it. He's a safety, All-American, freshman All-American at the FCS level. Led his team in tackles, 95 tackles. That's pretty impressive. 3 tackle for losses, a sack, and for me, the most important, or the one that stuck out to me the most is 4 pass breakups. That's something that Boise State really didn't have many of as a safety core last season. Look at that film, and you can see a lot of him playing all over. There's sometimes he's lined up at linebacker. There's sometimes he's back at free safety. I think this young man's going to bring a lot of versatility. On Saturday, Spencer Danielson was pretty outspoken about they were going to take the best player available. They knew they were going to get defensive linemen, which they're still out looking for. And they knew they're going to get a wide receiver, which there's offers out for as well. But the third guy was just going to be whoever they can find that's the best player. And I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. He's coming in as a redshirt sophomore. With the transfer portal, okay, maybe I'm not getting all that attached and counting on 3 years, but boy, this is an experienced young man who, you can say he played at an FCS level. We also played against Oregon last season, and they kept it pretty close from what I remember. Maybe I'm misremembering on that one. So Derek Cantor Jr., super excited to see what he can do. Nick, do you have any thoughts on this late afternoon edition?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good compliment for what we have and what we've lost, right, from last year. Just looking at his stats alone and looking, at his mentality, I think he will complement McCoy and Irby back there. I kind of see him kind of like a McCoy. When we got McCoy, he was established. He had a couple years in in JUCO. So yeah, I'm really excited. This was a nice surprise today.
Yeah. And you got to remember, you thrown in the Notre Dame transfer, Nickelback, last name Mickey. Can't remember his first name off the top of my head. Another super experienced defensive back at an extremely high level of football. Take a deep breath, Bronco Nation. This defensive backfield might be pretty well improved. We're gonna finish with just a couple comments. I love being interactive with the fans and the viewers. So if you comment on some of my posts on Twitter, on Facebook, or even directly onto this video, I'll be happy to cut it and paste it and bring it on here, and we can discuss and tell you you're wrong or agree with you or whatever. But I'm gonna post a couple here just so that we can show that it's gonna happen. Okay, we're gonna hear you out here. So JD Dalton Steege has really looked explosive. I agree. Max Steege is probably going to be the starting defensive end, and obviously stepping into some big shoes with Ahmad Hassanin leaving. But I couldn't agree more. Max Steege is just going to be that Mr. Consistent, I think. Nick, any thoughts on Max Steege?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a progression in his game, right? With the time that he's been with Boise State out of Germany. I think he's got a potential of having a breakout year this year if everything aligns right for the young man.
Yep, I agree. Toss over to you, Grant. Any thoughts on Max Steege?
Yeah, I love this fan. He must have been reading my articles that I post weekly.
Yeah.
It's the first guy I dropped in my first week of articles. Yeah, Max Steege is looks like a guy that ate a lot of bratwurst this summer. He's a big boy now.
He is.
I think he's gonna do a good job. He didn't get much playing time because he's, like you said, behind Jaden Virgin Morgan and Hamed Hassanin, so you're not gonna get much playing time. But if you could have two role models to role model your game after, those are two guys I'd want. So I'm excited for him to step up and get some more playing time this year.
Yep, I totally agree. I think he's going to take a big step forward, and I'm excited to see that. Bronco boys, Annette is QB2. AJ Mays, more than just a walk-on. Jake Ripp going to be a chess piece. Latu is a bad man. Totally agree here. I think Annette is establishing himself as number 2. Jake Ripp, I like that. That's a good way to put it. He is kind of a chess piece. Kind of move him around. And then Latu, yeah. I think he's gonna step in and have a huge role. Nick, what do you think about our little chess piece of Jake Ripp? Do you think he's going to see more time at inside linebacker or edge?
I thought he did really well at linebacker during the scrimmage. In fact, we have some highlights of him going in there and getting Mad Dog, one of his best friends. Outside of being an incredible athlete, and he's got the willingness to be fit in wherever they need him. So he's got that going for him. But outside of that, he's a great human being. He's helped us out on some community outreaches. So I got a kind of a soft place for my heart for Jake, and I hope nothing but the best for him this season.
He's a great guy, and he was also interviewed on Saturday. Go check out that interview on our YouTube page. He did a great job. Love hearing from him. This will be our last one. That running back room is stacked. Latu is nasty. Yeah, I did not think that we would be talking so much about Malik Sherrod, and I'll have to eat that crow as well. I really thought he was going to come in and be just a special teams kind of player, and he's proven that he's going to be a lot more than that. Putting you on the spot here, Grant, who's going to be the leading rusher this season? Give me a prediction here.
This might be the year the streak breaks of the 1,000-yard rusher. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you have 3 to 4 guys that all have over 750 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Like you said, I see them running a lot of 2 running back formations here. It's going to be a running back by committee. I don't think anyone's getting more than 20 carries a game. We're not going to have Ashton Genty numbers, getting 32 carries a game and 280 yards. If I have to pick one person,
I know who Nick's gonna pick. So,
I'm gonna go. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. I'll go Breezy Dubar.
Oh, nice. That's a good call. Nick, tell me your hot take on the running back leader this season. I've read it. I like it. He's got an article about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hope that we have a healthy stable. But just going by the trend right now, I think if everything still lines up by the time we go to South Florida, I'm going to go with the proven healthy athletes, and for me, that's Dylan Riley and Malik Sherrod. And so I see probably the best setup for success for the Broncos is by going with them and allowing Sire Gaines and Breezy Dubar to get through those injuries. I even, I saw Breezy kind of struggling with something on the sidelines during the scrimmage. It may have been a cramp, but the thing for me, where I come to this conclusion is, Riley's got he's got a whole season of injury-free performance. He burned his red shirt. He's all in. He's got the willingness to take on that RB1. So the way that I see it is I see a healthy dose of Malik Sherrod and Dylan Riley with both contributing on special teams as well. But for me, my hot take is you got to ride that jet. We've seen him in action. We've seen him with those 96-yard burners for touchdowns. So, I'm always recency biased. So I'm gonna go with the jet.
I like the jet. I think the jet has a real good shot. I think he's going to play a huge role in special teams, but he's definitely more than just a special teams player. Let's make that very clear. All right, viewers, I appreciate y'all hanging with me here. Had some technical difficulties, hit the wrong button a couple times. I don't know what I'm doing. They just tell me to do this every once in a while. No, I appreciate y'all viewing, and I appreciate these two gentlemen here taking time out of their day. I know, Grant, you just got off work. Same with you, Nick. So thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your takes. I hope the viewers make sure to subscribe. Drop your comments below. Tell us how awesome we are, how awful we are, whatever. A comment's a comment. I'll take it. And hell, let's just throw this out. Let's just throw this out. Drop your leading rusher as well. Who do you think will be the leading rusher? But as always, I always leave off with have a great day and go Broncos.